why I chose Beethoven for my project. If I were to pick a favorite genre we studied this semester, it would be between the classical and romantic styles. Even before taking this course, I had started listening to classical music at a low level while doing my schoolwork or writing sermons. Beethoven, Mozart, Chopin, and Tchaikovsky were some of the ones that I'd listened to. However, Beethoven is my favorite composer. I would have loved to have done this project on Beethoven's Moonlight Piano Sonata number 14, but it was a piece we examined during the course, and it made it ineligible for me to use. Knowing I wanted to use one of Beethoven's pieces, I searched on Google his top 10 works. Surprising to me, Beethoven's famous Symphony number 5 was not even on the top 10 list of his best works on that particular website. Once again, it didn't matter because we already examined Symphony number 5 in class. After reviewing the top 10 list, I came across a Beethoven piece I was not familiar with and one we didn't cover in class. I chose to use Beethoven's Eroica, Symphony number 3, which ranked second on the top 10 Beethoven's best list on that website. After reading the short description of the piece on the website, I knew this was the composition I wanted to use. The description said the Eroica Symphony is probably the biggest single stylistic turning point in Western music, maybe jointly with the Rite of Spring that we looked at in class a few weeks after the classical era. Beethoven's work, in my opinion, is already amazing, but we have had a music critic on that site describe the piece as the biggest single turning point in Western music, and that captivated my attention to examine that particular piece. Also, I've mentioned several times in my listening journals that I've grown to love Leonard Bernstein as a composer. So I searched to see if Leonard conducted Beethoven's Eroica Symphony, and he did in 1977. So I searched on YouTube and I was able to find Leonard Bernstein conducting Beethoven's Eroica. So I used that for my project. The genre of the Eroica, like many aspects of this course, I've struggled with some of the things because of my limited music background. I have not taken any music classes up to this. As we learned, Beethoven's work is categorized in our textbook as 18th century classical music. But while researching Beethoven's Eroica, I found out it's typically not classified as classical work, but instead is considered a piece of the romantic genre. Many of Beethoven's symphonies and sonatas are considered classical because they have clarity and balance. However, the Eroica is different than most of Beethoven's pieces because he pushes the boundaries of what's normal during that time period. What makes the Eroica romantic is its emotional depth and the expressive power that's shown throughout the whole performance. It's like Beethoven broke free of the known classical structure and rules of the music of that time, and he poured a sense of his own style and expression into this piece. I think the Eroica fits this genre because of just the way it's the aspects within it. This may not have been the best choice for me to use because, once again, of my limited knowledge of music. I believe this piece is torn between classical and romantic styles. However, the aspects that makes Beethoven's Eroica romantic are the emotional intensities that are not prevalent in the classical music. In the opening movement, there's a struggle that accumulates triumph, and in that you feel a great emotion. The piece features unusual harmonies that add depth, and it conveys a lot of mood to the piece. At times, the symphony features melodies that are bold and almost daring, it sounds like to me at times, and I think that showcases romanticism. In the opening movement, Beethoven uses thunderous chords that reminds me of a hero coming in, the heroicism of that opening piece. Then you have a narrative that unfolds throughout Beethoven's Eroica. Beethoven allows his expression to shine through this piece, and you can hear the raw emotion that highlights the romantic genre. The characteristics that I picked up in the Eroica, there is a profound emotional expression of struggle and triumph, and marked by that sense of heroicism. Beethoven has extreme shifts from loud to soft in the volume, which makes the piece very dramatic. The piece also features longer movements that allow the orchestra to develop a powerful story. The orchestra features enhanced brass and percussion sections that are complemented with the traditional strings and woodwinds, which effectively showcase the dramatic and raw emotion of the piece. They just complement each other. Beethoven's Eroica consists of 4 movements. The first movement has a heroic sense, and the whole entire orchestra plays in that opening first movement. The second movement is known as the funeral march. It conveys a somber mood, a sadness. You can feel a hurt in it at times. Then you have the third movement that features the scherzo, which is characterized by its playfulness, the fast, the running of the music. It's playful. It draws you in, or it does me. It makes you want to see what comes next. And then lastly, the fourth movement, or the final, or the finale, brings the other 3 pieces together. You have that introduction of the hero in the first movement. Then you have the funeral march. You have the sadness. Then you have the playfulness in the scherzo. But when you bring all 4 together, you have the triumphant victory that's shown in Beethoven's work. I enjoyed doing this project. I learned a lot. The thing that really got me, we talked about Beethoven losing his hearing, but I seen where he had even created works after being completely deaf. But I just can only imagine how Beethoven felt dedicating his life to music and then losing his hearing. I'm sure there was a great sadness within him because of that.